We're live.
Yeah.
Painkiller Nearly, episode 126.
God, I gotta piss so bad.
Huh.
Oh, don't you
That's-
hate that when you
that's
miss
one opener.
time the start of the podcast?
You picked the. I was about to be like, hey, man, let's go out. Go pee over here.
Should
let
I
my
restart? Would you like
I
me?
think
No.
that we.
No,
Well,
I'll-
it's up to Kyle.
It's cold down here anyway. I kind of like the warm sensation, so I'll just take care of it.
Does it smell like asparagus in that room?
Oh no, nothing drinking, but nothing but water. It just smells like Axe body spray. It's delicious.
So Kyle, earlier today, you were saying like you could run a mile in 6:30, like,
Currently.
and then or
No,
six. What,
I said
here, you
6:45.
correct it.
Yeah, I said the last time I timed myself, I ran a 6:45, and that has been year and a half. It was paintball, whenever paintball was, and now it was like 7:48,
That is
something like
not
that.
bad.
7:30.
That's still not
I
bad.
I think that I could also run a 6:45, but 30 years ago. Actually,
I ran a
at 13, I
6:30
probably could.
my sophomore year of high school, and even as I made that time, I was like, "This will never happen again."
That was
Like,
all
wow.
you had, right?
That's all that I had. And the only reason is because I falsely assumed how slow a friend in front of, like, because you know how when you do that in gym, you know, like, okay, so there's Quick Steve, the guy who runs, he's going to dominate. So don't even look at that guy, like, because you're just going to get upset as he's lapping you. Then there's, Slowy Joey, who's just fat, or the guy who's like, oh, I'm indignantly going to walk the mile because I'm trying to act like I'm being funny and silly and not, participating, but really I'm just fat and insecure. There's that guy who's way in the back. And you just kind of have to try and find a middling spot. I picked a friend who I thought was way fatter and slower than he was to kind of track behind, and he was better than I thought. So I came off like a real athlete that day.
I remember exactly what my mindset was. I picked a pace. I knew that you should pick a pace, right? And that should be your thing. Like I understood that much about like long distance running, if you can call a mile a long distance. I did. I
think
still do.
Yeah.
I still do. I feel like shit right now. I feel like a noodle. But I just remember picking a pace that I thought was. It certainly wasn't a lazy saunter. It was a jog, and I just remember thinking, like, I'm going to do this pace. I'm going to do this pace. And by the end, it was terrible. It was awful. It's awful. It
When I was
always
in high
is.
school,
where
the
you
trick
get
was to get a
horrible
guy from the
tasting
track
spit.
team. Like, that was the thing. Like, everyone would like spot track and field athletes and be like, "You need to be like my pacer," and it was just incredibly better. It was so much easier when you had like a track team guy tell you like, I can get you a 6:28 or something, a few seconds, because we needed a 6:30. And that was how I did it. I just sort of like, dude, I know we're barely friends, but I really need this help. And
That's
that's
impressive.
That was the position I was in. But yeah, I could have never done it without someone to pace me. But with a pacer, with a track guy, it helped a ton.
Running is the worst. Like that's part of what I think pulled me into hockey in the first place as a very young kid when I was like 5 and 6, because I started with roller hockey and I was 6, and just it was kind of even then being like, ooh, this isn't running, is it? This is a different kind of locomotion that's fast, a little less energy, more energy to start and stop real quickly, but still, that's a good trade-off. I don't have to run. Like, it was even then, psychologically, it's like, I'm playing a sport where I'm not running. Skating isn't running. This is different cardio, which is better on your knees. That's the only reason Jaromir Jagr's still out there. He couldn't be running up and down the basketball court at 44. Probably.
He's 44.
He's 44.
Did
A
Chelios
year older
play
than
the
you.
47?
I think he did. I think
Yeah.
he did. Kyle would know for sure. But
That's a funny line.
Yarmir? Yeah, Yarmir Yager played till 47. Yeah. What a tough guy. Yeah. They don't make him like that anymore. What the fuck are you talking about? Jesus, Yarmir Yager. 18 people know who Yarmir Yager is.
At least
everyone
19.
you're actually wrong there, because he's one of the most famous people in the hockey world.
16 if I subtract the two of you.
He's only to Wayne Gretzky in points. People know who he is. At least all of Canada, so there's a few dozen
All right,
more.
PKN audience, let me know in the comments. How many of you know what color Yarmir Yager's hair is? How many of you know what his number is? How many of you even know what fucking team he plays for?
name a team, you're probably gonna hit it. You know,
Yeah,
he's played for a lot of teams.
so many.
I
Philly.
think at this point, if you name a team, there's a 33% chance that he's played for them.
I'm
Braggers.
so old that when I hear Yarmir Yager and hair, I think about that stupid what was it called? Business in the front,
mullet.
party in the back. The mullet.
Mullet.
He rocked the the most mullet of mullets for like 10 years or something. It was
He
forever.
did.
And it was long. And in hockey, it really stands out when your hair sticks out your helmet and goes flowing and stuff. And that's what his was. Does he
I
still
just typed this
salute after a goal?
2016, and the third suggestion for Yarmir Yager is Yarmir Yager mullet. Yeah, this is bad, and this is the 90s. This went out in the 80s, didn't it? The mullet.
I'd say, yeah. And we were making fun of mullets by the 90s, but somehow they stuck around in hockey. Barry Melrose rocked one for a long time, too.
Yeah, hockey hair is definitely a thing.
How do those black guys get away with it? They just braid it up and it's cool.
No,
I
that's
don't
not a mullet.
know many black people with mullets. Dude, did you see the Ronda Rousey pictures today that came out?
No.
So
But
apparently
where
her
is
house,
she all like beat up?
her
like,
house
bruised?
was vandalized. And
Oh.
yeah, no
That's-
one's in favor of her. Like, you can not root for her, but no one's like, yay, her house it got tagged, and I couldn't read it. I tried, and I couldn't make out the words. But I saw Rhonda. Oh my God, she looks like the fattest housewife already. Like, how is it
Really?
that 10 days ago she was hot, and she must
You know
have
what the
gained
actual
25 pounds? What?
An actual answer to that
Peanut
would be
butter.
a drink. I don't know if she's a drinker, but if you go on a drinking binge for that long, you will look bloated and heavy and fat because basically if you drink any kind of alcohol, I think it's not just alcohol, like other shit does it too, where it makes you like just hold a ton of water in, you retain water weight. So that could be it. And I wouldn't blame her for it.
Some people
Because
put weight on their face
going through a
first.
rough time.
Like, you know Chris Weidman? I'm sure Kyle knows Chris Weidman. But he instantly gets chunky in his face. Like, it's just he's not fat. Like, he'll still have abs and stuff. But if that guy puts on even like 5 pounds from fight night, it looks like 30 on him because his face is fat. And I think Rousey's got the same sort of thing. Like, she just puts on face fat in a hurry.
I empathize with that. I definitely can throw on some face girth pretty quickly. In the cheek area, I can really puff up. I can get these cheeks packed, gigantic. That's like
Are you
the time.
putting
That's like when I
acorns in them?
know.
Because that does it.
Like if I'm ever in a really fat phase, I can tell because like I'll look at myself in the mirror, and even if I'm not naked, I'll like smile and I'll be like, "Oh Jesus!" Like there's caverns and crevices and up and down on those cheeks. Like my God, Taylor. Like I'll smile and be like, "This is impeding my vision at this point. I can't even drive." Like I mean, oh, that's the worst. Is just when you gain, and then I have so much jealousy when I see people who have like you'll sit across the table from them and you'll look at their face and be like, this is a totally normal weight person, you know? And then they'll stand up and they'll have like a gut or love handles or something that's obvious. And I'll be like, this is bullshit. You are in way worse shape than me. And if someone just looks at our heads, they're going to go, oh, clearly the guy with the big head guy, he's probably pretty fat.
I bet he gets a lot of disappointed Tinder dates.
Speaking of Tinder,
I don't
when he
know.
said that, girls on Tinder in particular, like sometimes they just have chiseled cheekbones and stuff, and also they know exactly which angle is their best one, and they put it on Tinder. That was the thing that I thought was somewhat unique to YouTubers 5 years ago. Right, 5 years ago, I know Kyle did. I know I do. Like, you know exactly which angle is your best one. You know what you look like at all times. I've heard models, like when they strike a pose, when they smile or whatever, they know exactly what that looks like. Whereas most people
Blue Steel.
don't. But now with like Instagram and I don't know all the other reasons people take selfies, Snapchat, everyone knows what they look like in a way that they didn't before because of the selfie.
I didn't have a good angle 5 years ago when I just was lazy and just didn't take care of my hair and just shaved my hair off all the way. Like I really didn't consider
that.
the extent to which neo-Nazi came off. Like I always thought, I was like, man, I'm fucking smart. I'm just going to the bathroom, boom, 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 haircut, done. Like everybody's looking at that guy like, well, he's just getting it done, utilitarian. But really they're like, he's just looking at that guy. I bet he's got a lot of sheets in his closet. Like,
I bet you stomped a Jew before.
yeah.
Like, not a good look. Yeah, the skinhead thing. See, that's another thing that white people lost. You know, I don't think you can roll with a shaved head anymore if you have a certain look about you.
It's true. You have to really work on a friendly vibe to put out there.
You got to smile. Like, what if you've got a lot of tattoos, you're a biker, and then you lose your hair? All of a sudden, you look like a fucking neo-Nazi, right?
Yep. A lot of those bikers are neo-Nazis, though, so that could be...
That's true. He could just fold right in with them. Maybe that's how the neo-Nazi bikers originally found it.
Yeah. That's when he finally got patched in. They're like, you know what? I don't know what's new about Greg, but he seems to finally get it. You know? He's finally put these pieces together. You know? Heil, Greg! Oh, no. Hey. I was watching Heil made me think of this, but I was watching Downfall for the second time the other day.
Is that a TV
You
show?
guys have both seen that, right? It's the Hitler movie with the scene where they do the parodies online and they're like, oh, the Xbox One sucks. And he's like, oh, not really, or whatever he fucking says.
Right. Everyone who likes PS4 leave the room. Yes.
Yes, that kind of thing. You guys haven't watched that movie?
I don't think so.
You have? Then it's all in German subtitles. It's not in German subtitles. That would be a feat. It's in English subtitles in German. And maybe
You'll
that's
need your dictionary.
Like, I don't like when people pretend like subtitles aren't something to overcome in a movie, but they're like, oh, I don't mind at all. Well, I do, because the fact that there's words on the screen makes it difficult for me to pay attention to what's happening on the screen because I'm just drawn to read the words. So even if I finish that sentence, I almost sometimes want to wait for the new thing instead of looking up and seeing what's happening.
And you're blind as a bat, so it probably takes a little while for you to read those captions.
Yeah, I have to really infer a lot.
Let me ask you this. Do you ever go in the settings on the TV and make those captions extra big?
I've done that before. Yeah.
How big do you make them?
No,
as big as they'll go?
No, it's not silly. It's just a
Is
little
it like 3 words at a time? It's like, hello, mein Hitler. You're like, but they're still like rolling through. You're like, come on, hurry the fuck up. Come on, move it along.
It's just like 2 words at a time. Like, I really hate the Jews.
All right,
it's like,
okay.
All right, I got it. There we go.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't. But anyway, back to the movie. You should watch it, Woody. It's a great film, and it really helps you understand more about Hitler and how he was going crazy at the end. Because I read something where some scholar was talking about it, where they're like, yeah, they actually did a pretty good job portraying what Hitler was like at the end, where he was just like commanding fake armies around. All of his generals are standing around like, you know, Führer, like we were kind of hoping that we can surrender soon because the Russians are kind of here, you know, and he's like, like you're saying like, oh, the Russians will never get past this area. And then he shows the generals talking and they're like, that area doesn't even fucking exist anymore. Hitler, that area's been gone for so long. Like, you've been living in your bunker. Like, and he's like commanding, like, we need Wenke to go up to the north or whatever. And they're like, Wenke's dead. He's been dead for so long, Hitler. Like, my God. Like, it's been years. We invited you were at his funeral. Like, but it was kind of sad because you see all the people who bought into him, who probably aren't totally evil people, all of them collapsing. It's like, wait, like, this is the whole world that we've built up. Like, without National Socialism, what are we going to do? Like, that's what one lady said. She killed all of her own kids before the end, saying, like, if without National Socialism, there is no future. Like, there is no future without National Socialism. They're trying to say, like, you know, how about your kids? Like, you know, maybe give them a shot in the United States. We can send them to South America. You know, we can do lots of things. No, I'm just going to kill him. No, National Socialism makes it not worth it. Like, it was fucked up. Like, how
it's
much
really good.
Cult it was.
The guy who plays Hitler's excellent. I love World War II. It's such a fascinating subject. Have you ever seen Boys from Brazil?
No, I haven't.
Oh, Boys from Brazil is on Netflix, and I won't spoil too much of it. But basically, I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but lots of Nazis post-World War II fled to South America, places like Argentina. And so this movie is about Dr. Joseph Mengele. You know, he was the mad Nazi scientist who was experimenting on twins and trying to change their eye color to blue and doing all kinds of
Vivisection.
terrible experiments. Not vivisection. That's the Japanese. That's that section like 731 or whatever. Those were the real cocksuckers. They should have.
That's just when you operate on someone who's alive.
We should. Yeah, exactly. It's when you open up without anesthetic. You just dissect a human being alive. We should have nuked the Japs till there were no more. Could have made our own fucking clock radios and we wouldn't have had a dependent over there next to our second most powerful nation in the world, fucking Japs. But what movie was?
They're replacing Ireland and Kyle.
I mean, those slanty-eyed bastards are the enemy. What are you talking about?
You bring up a strong point. That is it.
December 7th, the day which will live in infamy. All right, I heard what FDR said. I'm not going to forget either.
They did start it.
They did started it.
Yeah, they
started it, and we still might not have finished it. Just keep that in mind, Tojo.
I don't know what Tojo is.
Tojo, well, that's a bit of a racial slur toward the Japs because they're throwing a little shade their way.
Chinese now.
No, we don't hate each other. The Japanese and the Chinese hate each other enough.
We should let them fight each other. Let the Chinese kill all those Japanese. Their food's better anyway. But basically Joseph Mengele goes to Argentina and he comes up with this idea to resurrect Hitler, not figuratively but literally. And these Jewish investigators who have like no credence to their name, they're not treated with any respect by even the other Jew hunter, or even the other Nazi hunters. These are kind of the disgraced Nazi hunters. They tap into this and they find out what's going on. And then the whole movie is about trying to stop this conspiracy to bring Hitler back for real. It's about 2.5 hours long. It's on Netflix. It's really, really fucking good.
It sounds good. I didn't know it's an older movie.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah. But it doesn't suffer from, it benefits from how old it is rather than suffer because it's in the perfect time period that these characters would still be alive. Because Joseph Mengele is a real guy, and he's in the movie, he's in like his 60s or something like that. So, it lends itself more to the movie than it takes away from it. I'm a big fan. I watched it recently.
All the Nazi all the twins, he was the one who was all about twins.
Yes.
Where he just would pull two Jewish twins out and then try and be like, hey, maybe this arm will fit on the other one. So he just hacks one arm off of both of them and then tries.
Well, it was a lot of things.
Yeah,
right?
he did a ton of shit.
You do something to one of you have the perfect control experiment if you remove morals from the equation. And bear in mind, a lot of his research, they didn't throw it in the bonfire. All that stuff he discovered, we packed it up, we put it in a box, we mailed it over here, and it saved millions of lives. It was a horrible, disgusting thing that never should have been done. But he would do things like expose one twin to hyperthermia. Let's freeze him for an hour, bring him back in. Compare him to the one that wasn't in there. Okay, we see how the skin starts to get necrosis here, and here, but not there. I wonder why. Put her back in for 2 hours. They would do things like expose one to measles or mumps or smallpox or anthrax. You had the perfect control experiment.
They also did bullshit that, like, I know they actually did. Like, that's part of the controversy, like you're saying, is that, there is stuff that he learned that we didn't know before by doing stuff that's fucked up,
I'm coming off a little evil tonight. Don't.
No, you're not.
We all do sometimes.
Like, it's like you learn a lot from that stuff, but yeah, it's still horrible. But he didn't just do stuff that he learned from them. He also did stuff that was just for fun, fucked up. Like, he did that stuff with like hypothermia, like, oh, maybe we can come up with something to help soldiers in Russia or whatever. That didn't pan out.
No, that did. That was his research on hypothermia saved. That's one of the more beneficial things he did, because before him there really wasn't much research. I've read that the hypothermia research in particular, the things that he learned about frostbite and how to treat it were majorly medically beneficial for the rest of the world in the future.
He also injected gasoline straight into people's hearts.
Well, you got to find out what happens, right?
Is just a way to torture and have someone, like, there's no way that you could be like, this high octane gasoline makes our trucks go faster. Maybe.
Do you think?
He is dead. He's dead. He is
Nope.
died.
Next. Come on, this one might make.
Yeah, right.
Can you bring me some lower octane fuel? You know?
Maybe people run on diesel.
That's what I was about to say. Oh, look at Nitro. Look at the diesel.
Yeah, kerosene? I can't figure this out. Someone get
But
propane
shit
in
like
here.
that.
They would
under,
inject
that's
Jewish
just straight
people's
up like
eyes with blue dye to try to make them blue. And that's a bit of the focus in that movie, the boys from Brazil. He's perfected the genetic way to make their eyes blue. You know, he's because that's his end goal, is to like understand genetics in a very crude way. He's doing what early scientists and early botanists did with plants, you know, in crossbreeding and trying to understand how what would happen if you mess with genetics a little bit. It's a good movie, and the ending is excellent.
A little new topic, but I've been watching Sons of Anarchy lately on the TV show idea.
Season.
I'm on the beginning of season 7, so toward the end. The 7's the last season.
how many? Oh, okay.
And
I think
where did that air? I thought that was on like broadcast TV.
like
FX.
maybe FX.
Oh, was it FX? Because
Cable, and it is gruesome.
more than I expected. And there's
Did
some
you
bare
get to the
ass.
scene? Yeah, there's plenty of bare ass and side boob. Did you get to the scene that involves the grapefruit knife?
I'm trying to narrow down because there's plenty of kitchen knives in Sons of Anarchy.
You have not gotten to that scene.
Is that in the last season?
It's just wait. Someone will procure a grapefruit knife. Let me just show you what one looks like. Most people don't know. I didn't. I had never heard of a grapefruit knife. Didn't know it was a thing.
Does he do
I
it to a?
You need special knives to eat that bullshit fruit. It's
Yeah,
horrible.
it's awful. It's like is it a melon scooper? Is that what I'm gonna see? I look forward to this. I'll Google.
It's I'm trying to find one that I'm trying to find the one that looks precisely like the one in question. It's
Is
a bit
the
like
victim a Chinese mobster?
no.
Oh,
Ah man, I'm not finding it. Oh, I'll do this.
I mean, I just put one in there. I don't know if that's the right kind, but I don't know how many
Grapefruit spoon, maybe that's it.
styles of grapefruit knife there are. I've never really just gone to town on a grapefruit with a knife. Is there a reason that you can't just peel it?
Stick
an
with me.
orange?
I think you typically dig the inside out. Cover it with
So-
sugar, scoop the middle out, and just cover it with sugar again until it's all gone.
We've changed so many fruits. Like bananas used to be garbage, and we made bananas great.
Strawberries
Why
used
has
to be
nobody
crappy.
taken the fucking initiative on
Yeah,
the
those creationists used to think that the banana was proof of creationism until somebody explained to him that we bred the banana to be like that it used to be a piece of shit.
Yeah, what was that guy's name? Ray Comfort, the Christian evangelist, who's like
Nice
he's
memory.
Australian, and he's like the way we can tell that God has a plan for our lives is this banana is made specifically for the human hand, perfectly peels, aims toward the mouth. Like it's an actual video of this guy from like 8 years ago, like giving a real evangelical speech about like God made bananas for us, and then some scientist was like, here's an actual banana, and it's this big oblong ugly thing with seeds in it, and he's like, you want to eat that? Because that's what God wants you to eat. You know, man wants you to eat delicious Chiquita bananas for $1 a pound. Like that. I'm sorry, Kyle, go ahead with that.
It's basically a spoon with serrated edges. Just wait. Sons of Anarchy is really shitty early on, but in the last few seasons, I'm gonna say, as soon as you get past that season where they go to Ireland, it starts getting better. And from then on, it improves every season subsequently. And the final season, I really enjoyed, and I almost wish that like they had just made a Sons of Anarchy movie that was as gritty as the final season, because that was fucking hardcore. The way and no spoilers, but the way the whole thing ends, the way certain characters end, the things that people do to get the shit fucking done no matter what is all just like, yeah, every step of the way. Like these guys aren't just fucking bikers; they're like heroes.
One issue I
it's,
have with the Sons of Anarchy, and this is all the seasons, No,
That
I'm
they're
not
not
a
in jail
soldier.
forever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's that. I'm not a soldier, and I don't pretend that I'd be some like amazing tactician or what have you. Having said that, I wouldn't try to run a car off the road with a motorcycle, even 2 or 3 of them. I wouldn't like take on guys with rifles with pistols. I wouldn't like they're just running around like shooting and running at the same time with pistols.
They
and-
have
Yeah.
fucking gunfights in the space of like a backyard with like 8 total gunmen, 4 on each side, plus maybe 2 bystanders. The cover is always light, like washing machines, vehicles. This thing right here will shoot straight through your car door, straight through your fucking rib cage, and it might get your passenger. If it doesn't hit anybody in the car, it'll go through both doors and kill a man. This is a little gun. This is a little fucking gun. They've got real fucking machine guns in that show, and they're just and I'm just thinking, like, why didn't they just bring one guy with a 12 gauge? You knew what the fuck he was doing. Like, you would be the master of NorCal, right?
Yeah, if
That-
one of them
Have
had
you heard
stopped
about
by,
Big Steve? Yeah,
Wildly
he's the kingpin
inconsistent.
of all NorCal.
Sometimes
How'd
the
he
guy-
do it?
sometimes
Well,
the
he
guy with
knows how to fucking shoot.
Sometimes a guy with a pump shotgun will kill 3 guys in 2 seconds, right? Other times, people let go 30 rounds out of a machine gun and can't hit a thing. And the Sons of
Jack-
the motorcycle club in particular, often has just absolutely awful tactics. They'll take on
like that.
they'll take
That's
on
what turned me off of that whole show.
12 people with machine guns. All they have are pistols. They're using motorcycles for cover. And
I know what Pitbull Jax has. I've got the same one. He's got a fucking Springfield 1911 TRP. That thing's got 9 rounds in it tops, and that's with an extendo mag, and it's just absurd. The
It's
things
like
he
I
does.
can get over the gun thing, like the gun fight, a little bit more because it's almost like it's expected. Like gun violence in shows isn't going to be like that great a lot of the time. And I think a lot of it's because people don't have the knowledge like Kyle has. Like if you don't know anything about guns and you're crouching behind a dryer, you probably think, all right, this is made of metal too. I'm kind of safe. They don't know that it's just going to punch right through that thing and kill you. But they don't really have to
pieces
know.
of the dryer are going to hit you. It's
I
worse than
hated
getting shot.
the like a Maytag shrapnel, like
Yeah.
just coming right through. But I hated the way that like I watched most of the series. There was one season in the middle I skipped because I was told like that's terrible, just fucking skip it, like just go to the next one. And I hated the tactic thing, like what you were alluding to, where they have like a big powwow in their clubhouse, all dressed up in their their fine
Leathers.
faux leather, talking
Cuts.
about what they're gonna do on that big table, and they're banging on the table, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta do it this way," and then Jax is like, "Oh no, we're gonna do it this way," and then they all get upset and they do it, and in the end, they come to a plan. But any plan they come up with is foiled the second that you realize, oh, so they're not gonna rent a car to get over there. They're not going to get on the bus and be inconspicuous. They're going to take 11 people each on their own Harley, and they're going to drive up to this fucking warehouse, all of you together. Hey, guys, Jack, show me to drive around and make sure, like, scout around first? No, we're all going in together, and we're all going to park in the same place in this middle area, and then we're going to wait for the guys in 3 Yukon XLs to pull up, and then they file out with their real weapons. It was just so much to the point of like a real criminal enterprise would never dress up like that and go around gallivanting around town.
Well, no, they
like
kinda
even
do now.
they don't
time
really
out.
though.
Time out. The Hells Angels are a real thing, and they used to be very scary. All right, like I don't know if you've ever seen the footage of them trying to kill Evel Knievel, but he takes out a couple of them with a 2x4. They used to kill people for money. Run drugs, all that shit. Run guns, and they did it on those fucking bikes. They did it.
Why were they upset with Evel Knievel?
Because he's a motorcycle guy, and they thought he was a pussy.
Not. I don't think Evel Knievel's a pussy.
I thought Evel Knievel was.
They
a
had
pussy.
there was a thing.
That's
Evil.
ridiculous.
That guy's like a pussy. All right, maybe I don't remember the exact circumstance, but there's video
saying
of
you're
like
wrong.
Knievel with a 2x4 going at Hell's Angels, and he's doing some work.
More evidence that
the
he's
way I
not a
remember-
pussy.
No, that's the way I remember it is the Hell's Angels maybe. Let me get the YouTube video because I think that the Hell's Angels try to get Evel Knievel, but then the audience will have none of it, and that's what I really hope happened.
So they tried to kill him.
there were threats to kill him. There were efforts to kill him. Evil. How do you spell that fucker's name? Knievel, Hell's Angels by. Today, Evil Knievel took on the Hell's Angels. Sure, Spike TV probably did a good job of seeing this. Let me see. Ain't too bad.
I am looking up why the Hell's Angels were after him.
I don't know. I feel like it's just like any business, like a crime family there, you know? Like if they're a crime, not family, but they're a bunch of criminals. You think that one guy, like they just need to bring in one optimization consultant or something, and he's going to be like, all right, guys, first of all, you're not going to like it, but you're all going to need to take off your fucking outfits. Next, all of you are going to go out to different areas in the state, and you're going to purchase the car listed on this sheet of paper. I don't want a gray 2007 Honda Civic. See, you're not thinking clearly, though. You do want a gray 2007 Honda Civic. I like my brand new loud bike. See, that's your problem.
Can I at
That's
least
why
put
all
some
these
exhaust
guys-
on it
Hold
so it's loud as fuck?
I'd like to see that guy like actually talk down to him and be like, well, see, that's the thing. Can you guys give me your financials? And it's pretty embarrassing. You guys are supposed to be criminals, right? You're selling a couple 9mm. How about we get into the drug game? You leave your little, bullshit behind. I'm going to buy you a couple of old Cavaliers and some Civics, and you're going to make a lot of money, and you're not going to get shot. You're
Do you
going
guys
to
want
be
to know
fine.
about the Hell's Angels thing? I thought it was
Let's watch this
interesting.
video because there's like footage of it happening.
Okay. Actually,
And
let me go first. Actually, unless I can.
I think they spell it out.
Oh, okay, we can do that then. All right. I'm at 0 to start
I'm ready
there.
on this one.
Ready? Oh wait,
Yep.
wait. Let me go to the big screen.
Or wait, Kyle, start at 0.
I am.
All right.
Oh, I didn't know if we're starting at 0.
Ready, set, play.
Counterculture was really kicking into high gear with like the whole peace and love hippie movement, and the 60s kind of symbolically ended with the Rolling Stones free concert at the Altamont Motor Speedway. The Hells Angels were put in charge of security. They wound up beating up a bunch of hippies. They stabbed one guy to death. So now the Hells Angels came over to see Evil's show at the Cow Palace 6 weeks later.
My dad wasn't a biker. He was Evil Knievel. I mean, when you think of Evil Knievel, you think of somebody. You don't think of somebody part of something else. You think of an individual person. I mean, he was Evil Knievel.
That's the one night all hell broke loose with Hell's Angels. I was standing pretty much in the middle of the arena, and Evil's making his practice runs, and I hear the announcer say, and this guy was half in the bag, okay? He said, if Evil Knievel makes his jump tonight, he'll set the Hell's Angels back 100 years. I'm thinking, I don't know if that's a good thing to say, because I can see the Hells Angels in a crowd. You say something like that, then you're going to get a reaction.
He made the jump and he was on his way back, and one of them stood up and threw a tire iron at him.
He actually threw a wrench. Of course, that's what everybody carries with them to an event, right? A wrench in your back pocket. But he threw a wrench, missed Evil.
It pissed off Evil. After he made the jump, he rode his bike right up to the guy that threw it, and the guy was giving him the finger.
Evil came back around, and I saw this Hell's Angel out there, and I thought, what's going on? I thought, I better get over there. So I started moving that direction. Evil throws his bike down. The guy grabs him and just throws him to the concrete. I mean, Evil just was like a rag doll. At the time Evil hit the pavement, I hit this guy. I had about a 30-yard run. This guy never saw me coming. He went out. 2 more jumped out of the arena. It was on. You know, I was ready to take on 2 or 3 guys, but they never got to me.
The crowd just went crazy. Jumped on the Hells Angels and just beat the hell out of them.
When
Nice.
the Hells Angels tried to attack Evil Knievel, and Evil went after him, the audience jumped in to help Evil Knievel.
Look at that! Look at that!
Oh man, they're beating him up with a
Yeah.
blockade.
My job was to get Evil out of harm's way. So I grabbed Evil, I got him under my wing and took him back to the RV. There was no love lost for the Hells Angels in California. They hauled
Look
a
at
lot
these
of Hells Angels to the
jackasses.
hospital.
Yeah, it was scary, you know, for a few days there.
Being in a biker gang is the most pathetic thing of all
Hells
time.
Angels are not
How much of a fucking loser
around
you
a
have to
monkey
be.
with, you know.
I was
you
gonna
don't
start a
put up
biker
with
gang.
much.
You hurting
Look
my
at this.
feelings?
Look at that kick to the head.
But then you decided not to. See?
I was like
Dallas.
Sons
We
of
went back to the San
Arthritis.
Francisco hotel that night, and he was afraid that they were going to find out where he was staying. So he asked me if I had a gun. I said, well, I got a gun, but I got it at the apartment. He said, go get it. So I went and got my gun. It was a little 22 Beretta. Couldn't stop anybody. I bring it into the hotel room. Dr. Graham is there, going over him and gave him a shot and everything. So it's Ray Gunn, the doctor, and me, and Evil in the bed. He said, you bring the gun? I said, yeah, I got the gun. How's this work? He says. I said, just pull back the sleeve and shoot it. He says, like this? And he fired one off into the ceiling. The doctor gets up. He says, see, Evil, I'm out of here. That was Evil Knievel.
That's a great fucking story.
Yeah, that is great.
There
That's
he
so
is.
funny. Man, that is so nice to see. Like, see, they ruined it right there with their little fucking outfits. If if a bunch of people dressed up together, like this is why real assassins guilds don't wear assassins guild helmets and hats.
They don't have
and
cloaks,
beanies. Yeah, they don't actually wear
long
clothes.
sleeves.
you
They
know?
conceal their hands. They just walk around like a normal fucking person to do their
Yeah.
shit.
It doesn't say stab kill on their knuckles or something like crazy. Like, no, if it had been one guy in a polo shirt start attacking Evil Knievel, everybody in the stands would be like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, that guy's in a Ralph Lauren shirt just fighting. Are they asleep with his wife or something? Like, what the hell's going on? But no, if five people all dressed up together, then the crowd gets emboldened, like, hey, we can take those 6 guys. Yeah, we can, yeah. And they all go down there and fight. Like,
That's
I'm
fucking
glad that they were,
hilarious.
though, 'cause I
For the listeners, Evil Knievel slides his bike into this guy and jumps up and tries to fight him, but gets tossed to the ground because he's a little guy. His buddy runs over there and just knocks the guy that had taken Evil Knievel the fuck out. And he says he's ready to face 2 or 3 more if he has to, and there are 2 or 3 more coming, but they never got to him because the crowd mobs these people, and not in a modern day kind of way that's pretty pussyfied. I saw a man on his knees getting hit with what looked like a barrier, while
Like those
another man
sawhorse
booted
style
him.
road barricades.
Yeah, like the middle of a sawhorse that has the orange lines through it. Those were getting swung. There were at least 2 of them, and then I saw a man on his knees take a boot to the center of his face, and his head snapped back.
So here's
Those-
the
and-
why of it. Let me
At
get
the
this
end
out.
of the
So
fight, there's a Hell's Angel being carried out fireman style.
Yeah.
It's
Knievel would regularly share his anti-drug message as it was one of his core values. He would preach an anti-drug message to children and adults before each of his stunts. One organization that Knievel regularly slammed for being drug dealers was the Hells Angels. A near riot erupted on March 3rd. This is the thing we just watched. At Cow Palace when a tire iron was thrown at Knievel during his stunt show. And Knievel and the majority of the spectators fought back, sending 3 of the 15 Hells Angels members to the hospital. And then it goes on about other stuff. So that was
See,
it.
and if those 3 guys had dressed up like normal people, like if they had been a normal guy in a normal shirt who got knocked down after attacking him, like that mob wouldn't have kept beating the shit out of them to that extent. But if you label yourself as, oh, I'm a rough and tumble bad guy, you know, even if you're on the ground and you're kicked, like if there's a Hell's Angel on the ground in the middle of a riot, I'm going to give him a few extra kicks because I'm going to go, you know what? I guarantee you're a drain on society, and maybe if I break a couple more of your ribs here, you're not going to be able to go beat your baby mama or your wife or rough someone up for money or something. Like, there's no incentive to not be a piece of shit. If you see clearly this person, if they don't get hurt here, they will impact everyone around them negatively. Like, they'll go be just like Jax and the rest of those invalid retards who can't make money to save their life and have constant opportunities to make huge sums of money. Oh, yeah, I'm Irish and I've got more guns for the IRA than I can even know what to do with you. You're gonna hook us up, aren't you? Help us out. Oh, I don't know. I'm just Jax, and I'm trying to change the direction of our motorcycle fucking club. We're also all out of money, and my man fucking Hellboy's furious at me for ruining his club or whatever his name was in the show.
Clay. But I
yeah,
prefer
Clay,
Hellboy.
God, that show, it was good, but that suspension of disbelief just got ridiculous sometimes. Every time they made a plan and they showed up on their bikes, it was like,
Have you gotten to the part? Have you gotten to the part where someone's loved one is burned alive?
That happens a few seasons ago. Oh my gosh, dude. That was like a Game of Thrones moment in Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah,
I didn't know what happened. There are people. Spoiler free, there are people in Sons of Anarchy that die that you didn't think were like eligible to die. Like, this is a main character. They'll probably pull through. No, that doesn't save people in Sons of Anarchy.
No, it's but early on it is complete horse shit. Here's what I'll recommend to you, anyone who's considering Sons of Anarchy: literally skip like the first 5 seasons. Get a YouTube.
Just to watch 6 and 7 that you went too far.
Skip the first 4 for sure. Whatever season they go to Ireland, that
I think
back
that's 3.
is shit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe start in 4, but just watch some YouTube video. Search, Sons of Anarchy seasons 1 through 3 summarized. Watch that shit. I promise you, nothing happened. Nothing happened. It's completely inconsequential. But once you get into the later seasons, every season gets better as it goes. And by better, I mean shit gets real, shit gets less silly, and shit gets sad. People start dying and things start happening to people that you just can't take back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Overall,
Kyle's plan would be to
it is
start
a
at
good
season 4.
show.
Season 3 is when they go to Ireland.
Yeah, fuck that. So Joe's fight's coming up. I'm super pumped about that.
Dude.
I've been watching videos on that kid he's fighting. I think he's gonna fuck that kid up.
Of course.
He's gonna. I think Joe's striking is much better. I think his jits is probably better. This kid's like 24, 25 years old or something like that. He hasn't fought anybody quite like Joe.
Joe
Joe's gonna
favored?
destroy this guy. I was talking to Joe earlier. Joe said, I said, I'm looking forward to your fight big time. Break a leg. His. He says, I think I'll fuck this kid up. I've got his number for sure.
That's funny that when you're like an actual professional fighter, that you can just send a text like that. And that's kind of nice about being a professional fighter, is like, that any shit talk, like, not shit talking is a sunk cost. It's like, you may as well shit talk because you will end up fighting anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you may as well be cocky and arrogant because it's not like you can back out. Like, at the end, you're gonna have to fight. May as well go into it.
But after the fight, you always want to be humble and talk about how great the other guy was, because you certainly don't want to diminish what you just did. You don't want to get up there and say, yeah, look at this piece of shit I just beat up. Like a fucking pussy. It was nothing for me. Nothing. I didn't even try.
That's the same reason
Then I
that
look
Trump
at you
thanked
and I'm
Hillary
like,
for all of her public service. He had to make it seem like it was a clash of the titans instead of 2 crippled, awful candidates kind of limping past each other. Same thing.
By the way, BJ Penn is fucked. Like, if I could bet, he doesn't, and he's gonna find that out on the 15th. He's gonna find that out on the 15th, unfortunately for him, because I think he's a nice guy. And I remember watching him. I think maybe he coached on the Ultimate Fighter. Maybe it was him and Jens Pulver.
That's right.
And then they fought, and he destroyed Jens. That wasn't even much of a fight. I felt bad for Jens. It was like
38.
It's like, what's Jens even doing in there? I feel like what we're about to see is what Penn did to Jens Pulver back on that show. He's gonna fuck. I just remember him being maybe in a rear naked choke and bloodied and just looking like he shouldn't be there. Dude, and I fear that's what's coming to BJ.
Jens' career after that? It got super sad. Yeah. So it just in a heart.
Who's Jens?
All right. So his name is Jens. Jenns. Jens Pulver, and he was a UFC champion, a pretty good one actually. But he was a champion like before there was much money in it. Like every fight he'd earn like $20,000, and then Joe actually was one of the guys that really knocked him down for good. Joe's UFC debut, Jens Pulver was supposed to walk through Joe and get another title shot, and Joe.
Yeah, can I add to that?
Go on.
That's a thing that the UFC does, and it's a thing that like fighting sports do a lot. They set this rising guy up with a killer, or vice versa. If you've got a guy that you want to protect, you kind of feed him somebody. Jens Pulver was being fed Joe Lauzon, and Joe fucked his world up,
knocked him out.
and,
Okay.
and then Joe like bursts on the scene, and Jen's stock really declined.
Yeah, even though Joe beat Jens,
Oh.
he ended up doing the Ultimate Fighter next, and kind of got popular that way. But anyway,
He already
at-
signed that, I bet.
so I talked to Joe about it. But
Oh.
what was I going to say? Oh, Jens didn't have money, so he kept fighting, and he got kicked out of the UFC. And then he kept fighting and worked his way to smaller and smaller organizations, and he just kept losing more and more. And, you know, he's like getting himself in great shape, and he just doesn't know why he can't win anymore. And I don't know that he ever figures it out. He just has a really rough slide of a career, losing all the time. And he's not doing the Bob Sapp thing where he just throws fights and gets money. No. All this time he's trying to turn his career around and just can't.
I don't
Is that
like
what Bob Sapp does?
Let me tell you what Bob Sapp does. Bob
I've watched
Sapp,
like a clip of him in Japan doing like Japanese fighting, and
Yeah.
he is so I can't believe
what is it? What is it?
how-
K1 or something? What is
Yeah,
that called?
it was
does
like
a-
kickboxing or
He
something.
does K1, but he does more than that too. But
I'm sure he'll
Go
fight
ahead.
anywhere that'll have him and that'll pay him $5,000 to go out there and then lay down on the mat.
he makes money.
Maybe he does, but I bet if you told him $5,000 to come fight at my local high school real quick and yeah, just do your thing where you lay on the mat and cover your eyes, he'd show right the fuck up.
I
Like-
bet
like-
he would. Yeah.
He's a multimillionaire. No, he wouldn't. Bob Sapp
says
been
his net worth is
cleaning-
1 million.
Is he?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it. Apparently, he made $1 million. He was doing like 3 things at once: fighting, endorsements, and something else. And all 3 of them had $1 million profits, like in
Probably
1
acting.
year. Maybe acting.
Yeah,
was
but
the
you know
other.
how those guys are with money.
Dude, Bob Sapp, if you hear him interviewed, is a businessman who will just completely tell you, like, oh, yeah. If I start taking any damage, I'll just get out of the fight, because if I were damaged, I wouldn't be able to fight again for the next 6 months. Whereas if I, like, you get a good hit on me, fine. Tap, tap.
What I heard
I'll
him
fight
say
next week.
was what I
Fight
heard him
next
say.
week.
What I heard him say was like, I'm not going to get hurt for that little amount of money. I was under the impression that he was on the decline. I was watching a montage of like most pathetic fighters or like most embarrassing fighters or biggest embarrassments in MMA or I like those top 10 lists because it'll be like freakiest fights or weirdest fights. You know, where there's like a big size disparity. Or I like the ones where there's what was the guy? Oh, he's this little guy fighting the gigantic black man, and in the end, the black man like gets on top of the little guy, but the little guy's just punching him in the face until the guy taps from that. It was crazy. The guy weighed like 700 pounds.
Oh, the sumo wrestler versus the like regular little guy who was
I don't
like
think
a
you could
kickboxer?
call him I don't think you could call this guy a sumo wrestler. He was more like a 6'8" morbidly obese man who like had a hard time walking.
If you're talking about the one I'm talking about, it was like one of those Japanese exhibition matches where it was literally a giant sumo wrestler versus some boxing guy, and it was
Yeah, do they
exactly
not have
what you
fucking weight
said.
classes over there? Woody, explain that to me.
I don't know.
They have, no, they don't. They do have weight classes in Pride, but they also have, I guess they're exhibition matches, or there's a less flattering term they use online for it. Freak shows. And, yeah, I've just remembered it. But sometimes the freak shows were just, like, Akibono went up against Hoist Gracie, and that was pretty neat to see. Akibono, you probably know that name. He's a sumo wrestler. And Hoist Gracie was a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy. And Hoist just seemed smushed. Like he couldn't seem to pull anything off. And you can't triangle him. Your legs don't even wrap around this guy. He's so massive. And he couldn't like take him down the way he wanted to. And he was on the bottom. And eventually he just bent Akibono's wrist and he tapped from it. And yeah.
To that. Oh, wow.
Yeah, he
That's
got it
great.
good. Well, those Brazilians are like, they're mean about their submissions.
Oh, I'm not saying that's nothing. It's incredibly
Right.
painful.
And dangerous. Like he could have broke his wrist.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what he got on him. He got some, I don't know what the wrist crank is called, but yeah, that's what he hit him with.
Yeah, this
So-
guy that Joe's fighting, apparently, I was watching all of his fights. I guess the toe hook is his signature move. I think he beat Diego, right? No, he lost to Diego. I think he's coming off a loss to Diego Sanchez.
Who are we talking about? The other guy? Because
We're talking about who Joe's about to fight.
So, okay.
Joe just beat Diego,
Uh-huh.
but the guy that Joe's about to fight next week lost to Diego.
the MMA math
I think-
is in his favor.
Chiz and I were having this discussion. I was like, MMA math doesn't work, Chiz. Like you gotta look a little deeper here. Look at Joe striking.
Dude.
Although he pointed out Joe striking looks better too.
Have you seen the MMA math, like the longer equations? Oh, it's so great. Like, I think there's.
Do they
even
get to a point where like Chuck Norris is the champion of the world or something like that?
Usually it's Fedor. Usually on one side is Fedor, and on the other side is anybody. And you'll get to like, there's a couple upsets that like, I think GSP and Jens Pulver get you Okay, so Joe Lozon beat Jens Pulver. Jens Pulver beat BJ Penn. BJ Penn will have beaten I forget, somebody big, Machida, or I forget who he beat. But you eventually work it out to the MMA math where Joe Lozon beats Fedor. Or I know Demetrius Johnson, Mighty Mouse, that 125-pound guy, he beats Fedor. And it goes all the way through. It's pretty cool. I wonder if I can find
This guy, Marcin Held, that Joe's fighting.
Yes.
That's who it is, right? The Polish guy.
Yes. The Polish prodigy.
He's only 24, and he's 22-5. That seems like a lot of fights. By
Those
the
are
time
amateur
24,
fights.
isn't it?
I think his amateur record in Poland was 24-0 or something, or maybe I read the 5 is an 0 or something like that. But he's got a lot of grappling titles, or they were organizations that I didn't quite understand. But it sounded like it sounded like he had a lot of titles from some sort of grappling competitions and stuff like that. He's a black belt in BJJ, and he's submitted just about everyone he's fought.
Have you seen it? So here, Lozon beat Gomi. Gomi beat, I don't know this guy, Azeredo. He beat Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva beat Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson beat Fedor. Therefore, the math works out. Joe beats Fedor.
We need to hook that fight up. Fedor is not doing too good these days anyway.
No, well, okay, let's do John Jones. Let's see if we can get Joe Lozon to beat John Jones. You can. A lot of it's the same. It goes through Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva beat Rich Franklin. Rich Franklin beat Matt Hamill, right? And then Matt Hamill beat John Jones. Do you know the Matt Hamill-John Jones fight? Yeah, so John Jones was beating the crap out of Matt Hamill. And then he just starts raining down, and he hit him with an illegal elbow. He gets disqualified. It's John Jones's only loss.
Fucking horseshit.
Yeah.
Was that Herb Dean?
I don't know for sure. I want to say it was that
Mario
Japanese.
Namasaki.
Yeah, but I'm not sure.
But
anyway,
I gotta say, I don't like Herb Dean. I don't like Herb Dean. He calls bad fights.
He was once regarded as the top of the food chain there. Now, who would you say is John McCarthy?
I think Big John keeps him safe, and I think he's big enough to do it. Big John's in there with a heavyweight.
Sometimes.
You get in there with a heavyweight who just took a real bad concussion, and he's fighting the ref, and you see that at least 1 in every 5 events. You'll see a guy fight the ref. And I don't mean, of course, getting up and throwing punches, but his brain is trying to restart, and there's so much muscle memory. He's going to jiu-jitsu on this guy.
I got choked out once, and I've told this story before so quickly. I'm choked out. I'm out. Everything's dark, but I'm still trying. In my head, I'm like, maybe I can still work my way out of this. And I go for the guy's leg, and I'm trying to take him down again. And it wasn't until I saw that he was wearing a black belt I realized that the guy who choked me out had left. The black belt had come in. He was breaking up our session. And because I heard later, he said he saw my neck in a oddly bent position. Yeah. And he stopped us. And I don't know the details of it, but I started trying to take down the instructor because I got mixed up.
Yeah, Herb Dean seems like a cool guy. I've seen him on I think it was Joey Diaz's podcast. He seemed like a nice guy. He fights. I've seen his fight. He lost in that fight because I think maybe he couldn't see out of his left eye or something like that, but looked like a skilled fighter. Certainly skilled to be a ref or whatever, but I've seen him call some fights poorly. I've seen him I like it when a ref, when he sees that first eye poke, he's like, look, control your weapons. Control your weapons. You're responsible for your weapons. And if he sees that second one, it's a fucking point. It's a fucking point right then and there, and that's it. I like this new ref they've got who looks like Gimli. You know, the guy with the crazy, crazy long braided beard. Taylor, I'm not exaggerating. It is as big as Gimli's beard. It comes down to like his navel, like with thick braids, not some pussy ass like white trash rat tail thing.
Yeah,
like
this is dwarf trash. Yeah.
Yes, and it's like a dark. It's auburn too. It's a dark auburn color. Like he's fucking legit. I worry that somebody's gonna get a hold of one of those things though, but
no, they probably won't. No, they probably will, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, you call John Jones on another 12 to 6 elbow, he'll rip that fucker right the fuck off. I guarantee it. That was bullshit, that elbow call. I was like, and of course, I won't say he flopped, but he was like, oh my God. He did flop. He flopped, remember? When John Jones hit him with the 12 to 6 elbow, the guy acted like he'd been shot in the fucking head. The guy acted like he'd hit him with a pickaxe. He was like, oh, he was really playing it up.
That sucks.
I mean, I don't know. If you get elbowed in the head by a professional fighter, you probably don't have to spice it up that much.
Have you checked out this beard, Taylor? I linked it.
This guy?
Yeah, there's an autoplay video, so you'll have to.
Oh man, this guy
beard.
looks like
There is nothing
didn't get
more
his cut of
frustrating
the
than
gold
officiating
from
during the
Small's
NFL
dungeon.
playoffs. It's like the refs burn the regular season.
Bullshit.
This is hilarious. This isn't embarrassing.
What's he laughing at? The beard?
What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at this link that Chiz just sent us.
Oh, I don't see it.
Oh, I was hoping that we were all. It's in the recording chat. It's.
I can't change chat.
All right, let me read this. It's better if I read it because the images are useless.
Okay, I'm in it now.
Russian and let me do. Russian intelligence monitored Donald Trump engaging in perverted sexual acts during his stay in luxury Moscow hotel, according to an unconfirmed report about compromising material on the president-elect. A document published in full by BuzzFeed News on Tuesday said
no better source.
And this is on the Daily News.
Come on now. Said that during a 2013 trip to the Russian capital, Trump made a Russian prostitute. Made Russian prostitutes, plural, defile a bed where President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama had stayed on a previous occasion. He got some whores to piss on the bed where they had slept.
Is that how you interpret the
just like on the off chance that he hopes that next time they visit, they stay in that room again?
Yeah, you had him piss on the bed.
Old Barry's going to be smelling a lot of ammonia the next time he visits Mr. Putin.
I promise you, he had him piss on the bed. Another allegation says that Trump had participated in sex parties in St. Petersburg, but that witnesses were bribed or coerced to disappear. The 35-page report, which said that the presidential suite of the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in the central Moscow was bugged by the FSB intelligence agency, that's the KGB, also includes other accusations that Trump was coordinating with Russia. It says that Russian officials, with the approval of President Vladimir Putin, have been cultivating Trump for 5 years, and that he received intelligence information on political opponents from them. Those on Trump's team who allegedly were making contact with Russia included Paul Manafort, who formerly advised the ousted pro-Kremlin president of Ukraine, and advisor Carter Page, a financier who invested in state-owned gas giant Gazprom, which is owned by Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
I think they
even
have
if he
sex on the
doesn't
bed.
say he owns it, he does.
No, dude. No.
How do you know?
All right,
to defile is to like take the chastity away from it.
All right, let's
No, I
see
think
what
he
Chiz
was probably
says.
meaning like pee and poop.
Let's see
on
what
the bed.
Chiz says. Yeah. All right. So we got 2 votes for P.
I gotta
Chiz,
vote for P.
what do you take from quote defile the bed?
Yeah.
See, he
Yeah,
before I
he
could
said
do it,
golden
he
showers.
What do you
He
write?
put hashtag golden showers before I could even do it, and he said it's trending right now. So it has, the whole world is taking it as piss because hashtag golden showers is trending on Twitter.
Well, I guess the world disagrees.
What did you think it was? Or what did
to
you take it
file the
as?
bid, I thought they had sex on it. I thought they were.
He said
like,
that all the articles talking about him paying to be pissed on.
Paying to be pissed on.
So,
I'm not sure about his.
So
I
people are saying
almost
he's the
picture Trump
recipient, not the director. Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
I don't know. I kind of pictured him almost being like the director of a scene where he's
Right.
getting off just on the fact that this is a bed being ruined. Vladdy, I'm gonna need you to bring me 2 of your finest prostitutes, and you're gonna need to get the hell out of here as
Now,
well.
I'll say this. I'll say this. After reading all that, I found that very funny. All that's very funny. I would certainly hope that isn't true, only because I hope that no foreign country has some sort of dirt like that on our leader. However, I couldn't give a shit less if he let them shit in his mouth, or if he had them piss on every single fucking hotel in his hotel in the hopes that someday an Obama relative would sleep in some prostitute piss. I just don't care. All I care about is how he rules the country.
Yeah. As
And I
far
did
as
say
like
rule.
the leader thing, I don't care at all. Like when Rob Ford, before the Toronto mayor died, like if you find out that Donald Trump is addicted to crack, you're gonna have to. Which, first of all, impossible. Look at his girth and how fat he is, how fat he's getting. That is not a crackhead.
Yeah,
But
that
if
is
he was like addicted to heroin or something, that'd be a real big concern. But as far as like sex parties go, if my politician is gonna be a little wild, I want them to do sex parties as opposed to drug parties.
I want sex drug parties.
I think for the next 4 years, I linked an image. It's basically Trump, one of his bad pictures, and it says like days since Trump was a national embarrassment, and it's 0, kind of like a workplace accident, like mocking sign. I think we're going to see that out of people who don't like Trump for the next 4 years. Just like, here he goes again. You know, he's arguing with Meryl Streep over Twitter. He's peeing in the bed or whatever that is that Trump does that embarrasses the nation. Like
He's not even the president yet, and people are so upset by everything he does. Like, of course, it's going to continue for 4 years. Like, it's righteous
there's a lot
indignation.
of-
It's addicting.
I think there's a
Say
lot
it
of
again.
feigned indignation. I think there's a lot of people like, oh, heavens me, is the president lowering himself to discuss Meryl Streep? Oh, wait, didn't Obama call Kanye a jackass last year? Like, come on. Like it's... he's the
I look at myself harshly and I'm like, all right, Woody, are you being hypocritical about this? Because I try not to be. I'm sure everybody is at some point. But it's like, all right, like, but did Obama have like semi-scandals where he hired prostitutes and had them piss in the bed or piss on each other or piss on Obama? Like it's BuzzFeed, so you don't know what to take of it, but or to make of it. But that's embarrassing stuff. That's not what you want in your leader.
Could be made up.
Could be.
It could easily be completely made up.
I would wager that it's probably made up because
Yeah.
so much of this
I only
shit
read it
is
because
made up.
it was well
Yeah,
written
it's funny.
and funny.
Yeah. But there's some. I feel like to say Obama and Trump are equal on the embarrassing the nation thing is off target. Obama was pretty classy. He kept himself together. He certainly wasn't hiring prostitutes and cheating on his many wives. He doesn't have 5 kids.
It's open marriage.
You say that, yet the first 2 wives left him for some reason.
Because they got too old.
Oh, you think that's what it was?
That's exactly. He's getting a new model every 15 years. That's what's going on. They're not leaving Donald because they've had enough. I've had too much of this billionaire lifestyle and this goes everywhere. It's so gaudy. No, those were gold digging whores that he picked up every step of the way. They just got too old and flabby. He kicked them to the curb, paid them $200 million. All right, sure, take it and fucking go, and don't ever say a bad word about me. And then he got himself a new one.
There's one story in Trump Tower. There's one story in Trump Tower near the top, not the top, where it's kind of like, where the Khaleesi's whose calls have died have to live.
Yes.
That's what it is. It's just a whole room of Donald's old, used up women, talking about, the new one comes in. Oh, Donald loves me. He would never leave me in this room for too long. Oh, my sweet child. He's already forgotten you. Look here, his Twitter. He's eating KFC blissfully on his plane as we speak. Oh, it can't be true. But I don't know. Yeah, Donald, like, he's an it's a different kind of embarrassment than Obama because he hasn't done anything like foreign policy yet, but he does stuff that's over the top, like silly. That's like, ugh, that's embarrassing. Especially if you don't like him. But I mean, Obama was kind of an embarrassment as far as foreign policy. Everything he touched in the Middle East was a disaster.
Really? I think he inherited disaster, and it's better than it was before.
I mean, he overthrew the Libyan government, and it turned into a complete shit show after he called ISIS the JV team. He has ruined everything that's been in the Middle East that he's touched.
Libya's in real bad shape.
Syria, it's the Iran nuclear deal. The Iran nuclear deal is humiliating. It's the United States giving billions of dollars to a country that does not like us, so that they can fund a weapons program, and then Obama can go, well,
well, that's a
we know that they're not
so
doing.
That they don't have the.
You saw the people of Turkey try to rise up and overthrow a dictator.
Well,
you saw the people of Turkey.
I guess, and like a tailored spin on it. Well, you tell
they're
them the
already
future.
Yes, of course they are. They have vested interest. They try and get uranium, plutonium, all that shit all the time. Like, they want to be a nuclear power, and Obama's given them the ability to be a nuclear power. Like, that's the trouble with. That's why people really hate the Iran deal, because it was basically like you said before, Woody. Hey, don't build any weapons. Here's a bunch of money to not do it. What are you doing with that money? Oh, we're not telling you what we're doing with that money. It's ours now. Okay, well, you guys' best behavior, all right? Like that. No, that is embarrassing. The ransom thing, that was embarrassing.
Yeah, but you are mischaracterizing the deal. I mean, there are inspections that go on. They can go in there and make sure that they're not building weapons.
Do you know how long how much notice we have to give them before an inspection can take place?
No, I don't. It sounds terrible, though.
You gotta guess.
Okay, 1 month.
It's 1 month. It's like 24 days.
Good guess.
Well, I was using psychology, not knowledge. Yeah, based on Kyle's vibe.
Yeah, I guess it's like 24 fucking days.
Yeah.
Dude, if I gave you 24 days to make it look like you and your family never lived in that house you live in, you could make it happen, and you can make it happen no problem. You can make it look like a black family lived there.
Would he just putting up pictures of a fake family all over his home right as he's leaving? You put like foods that you would never eat in there, like put tons of alcohol to throw them off the case, the trail.
Collard greens. I don't know what the black people eat that I don't.
Old scratch.
Well, there's a lot of
littering the floor.
It's just Kahlua
grape drink all over. Grape drink stains on the counter. Yeah.
Kool-Aid spilt all over the counter, and then they got a little water on it, so now the counter's kind of stained purple. That's not racist.
But I don't know. I'm just liking the idea of Woody completely pretending like someone else lived there. Like, you really could do that, I bet you that would take...
In 24 days, yeah, I'm sure I could.
Of course. What I'm getting at, though, is like it just wasn't a cool deal. It seemed like what it feels like to me is Obama was like, Iran will not be Obama's problem. Boom. Just fucking. He set the vase up on the pedestal. He could see it was wobbly, but he knew it wouldn't fall before he was out of the room. That's what it feels like to me. And now Trump is inheriting this thing, and we haven't seen anything out of Trump. But if we can take anything from his rhetoric, he's gonna do this with an iron fist. He's not going to fuck around. He's not going to be afraid of some air defense or a possible Iranian ICBM headed toward Israel. He's going to talk to his fucking Pentagon, and they're going to say, we can protect Israel. And he's never once going to be like, well, is there any chance, we deflect their nuke and it hits Jordan or Saudi Arabia? He won't give a fuck. He's going to fuck them up. I would be very afraid of what Trump is going to do to Iran and North Korea specifically.
I don't know.
Trump.
I hope
Trump's
North Korea
skin is so thin that Meryl Streep gets under it. Wait till Kim Jong-un issues a death threat and says he'll shave Trump's head.
That would be interesting. I'd like to see him react to that, right? Because Kim Jong-un's talking trash.
If they were like trying to get his attention.
Guy. Who is it?
Duarte.
Am I mixing Singapore with
Duarte
Philippines?
is on board with Trump, though. He's like he welcomes a new relationship with Donald Trump the Great. Duarte.
I wish a motherfucker would. Right? I don't know which one it has to be. But...
I'm telling you, it would be just like I have this fantasy, and it almost feels like it came from a dream that it's so vivid in my mind of the inauguration, because you know that the Bushes are coming to the inauguration, the Obamas are coming to the inauguration. They're in the crowd right there in front of the man while he puts his hand on that Bible and says the words. And I just thought, I just have this vision of the crowds, of him, giving his speech, and he's writing his own speech, so I would imagine it's not going to be very dissimilar to one of his rally speeches, even maybe a little more conciliatory, but not much. That's his style. I can just see the crowd suddenly chanting, "Lock her up, lock her up," and he just goes, "Officers, seize Mrs. Dayton." And she's just like aghast. She goes, "What? This isn't even a thing. No, we're just kidding, right?" And they just snatch her the fuck up like she's an ex-con or something, and like reckless abandon, ripping those big shoulder pads the fuck off, and her hair's all array. And they just they're going so fast with her, one on each arm.
Shame.
That her little heels are just clicking behind her as they drag.
Did you see her cabinet
She starts
choices?
faking a seizure.
You ever see V for Vendetta when they black bag McCready and like slap him in the face with that baton? That's what I'm talking about. And the crowd's just like, "Yeah, drink the swamp, drink the swamp." And then he starts looking around for someone else. Who else wants to go in the van? And everybody's like, "Trump, Trump, Trump." And that's the dawn of a new era as they drag Chief Justice off one by one, and at
the end, if he's
We'll
like,
see. I'm
and real quick to our opponents, let's give yourself a big round of applause if you worked at all at the Hillary campaign, everybody. And like the smattering a little bit. It's like, all right, that's fantastic. Everybody who was on the side there, all of my favorite new Secret Service, fantastic. You're going to want to meet up with one of them, and they're going to send them out or something like that.
Just sniper fire. Just all right, execute, and you just pew, 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 and like 80 people drop fucking dead.
Yeah.
The sheriff's in town.
Weird fantasies.
I hope that he adopts a military uniform. I hope he brands himself a 5-star fucking general and now look, this is true what I'm about to tell you.
That would be emotional.
He fancies himself to be a bit like General Patton. Now, General Patton believed in reincarnation. Patton believed that he had fought in Italy before. He believed he'd fought as a Roman soldier, as a Visigoth. He believed that he was reincarnated time and time again to fight a great battle. Donald Trump has mentioned General Patton more than he's mentioned America. Like, he talks about it all the fucking time. I think, and I've heard rumors, that he thinks he is the reincarnation of fucking Patton. He looks like him, too. Put him side by side.
He was born before Patton died.
Look, that's not how reincarnation works, Taylor, okay?
Oh.
I thought it was, too.
No, you're both wrong.
I thought that I had to be dead.
Donald Trump knows how this works. Trust me. He's the president of the United States. Are you going to argue with him? A real winner?
He's an idiot. I'm smarter than Trump.
He's the first person to preemptively reincarnate someone. He's a great guy. I just decided I wanted to be
There's some
him.
7-year-old running around, and Patton's spirit is like, "Get the fuck out of here. I want this one."
Exactly what happened. He was visiting Patton's gravesite. Some words were spoken by a witch woman. And into him came the soul of Patton, and that's what we have here. No, but I think he definitely patterns himself after that guy. I think he's gonna kill some people. I think he's gonna drop some bombs on some shit.
1 year difference. Donald Trump was born in 1946, and Patton died in 1945. Ooh. So as though that's like the secret key. Like, oh well, now we don't know. Like, who could
Vindicated.
Yeah, vindicated. So yeah,
not only vindicated, but it's pretty fucking close.
Pretty close. I mean,
Patton
only
like
hung out
8 or 9
like 6
months. Yeah,
Patton's a good
like
strategist.
6, 7 months up.
It would take a brilliant strategist to wait a whole year for a child born to very rich, connected parents, right? He didn't just jump in some random trailer park baby. No, he's like, "I'm going to wait for the Trumps to have a kid. I'm going to be that kid." Bide your time. Good move, Patton.
It's a great move. President Patton.
Now, look, if you see Donald Trump with a pearl-handled pistol, some of those cuffy things on his shoulder pads, and a fucking helmet, it's fucking go time.
So-
We are taking Mexico by storm. I can't wait till he gets to the bottom of this.
You're going to be all on board for this wall when you reach your hand over into a puddle of goo that just a moment ago was your best friend's face. And then just
That's not guacamole.
General
buddy.
Patton
I don't
speech.
think so.
So lately, it's been all over the news about Trump mocking that reporter, right? And now Trump is denying that he ever mocked the reporter. But he did, right? He clearly did. I don't think we need to argue about that. He's like, you should
wrong
see
with that?
this guy. And he starts mocking him.
What was wrong with him?
The reporter?
Yeah, because I feel like it matters.
Oh, he has some sort of like chronic thing that makes his hands curl up and there's like no muscle
Like
in
a
the hand.
T-Rex?
Like a
T-Rex
T-Rex.
syndrome.
Yeah. And his
Oh, it's
hands are,
T-Rexia.
right. So, anyway, Trump was saying he didn't like this guy because this guy apparently didn't support his claims that thousands of people were celebrating in New Jersey when 9/11 dropped. And he's like, you should see this guy. And he starts doing that. And it's been in the, and Trump is like, nope, never did it. That wasn't me. I wasn't mocking him.
I think what
You don't
Trump
find
said
that
was
indefensible?
he was not mocking his disability. He was mocking that the guy couldn't get his question out. But we all saw it. He was mocking the disability.
And he said,
Once
because
he
you should
got it-
see this guy. Right? That was the preface to it. You should see this guy. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not mocking his disability. Fuck off, dude. You mocked his disability. And I'm like, I wonder how his defenders defend the indefensible.
I think
Oh,
that most people kind of realize that you can't.
I mean, who hasn't
like,
mocked? I mean,
like
who hasn't
I'm not
mocked
Donald Trump, so I don't have to defend everything he does.
We mock a disabled person every week.
We do so much worse than that.
So
I
much
don't
worse.
think I do.
Oh, we do. Are you shitting me?
Yeah, what disabled
We're on
person
our
did I mock?
podcast. We definitely make fun of people pretty brutally. I think.
I just, which
Right.
disabled person did I mock?
I mean, I don't keep a list or anything.
Maybe not disabled. I think we probably made fun of disabled people. Well, we'll bring it up next
Probably
show. I'll,
have. Yeah. You know, I you're right. Although there's a difference between a podcast and a presidential candidate.
yeah. None of us are running for office, so obviously it's
Thank
not
God,
a
I'd be so
comparison
fucked.
there.
Yeah,
you would.
I'd be-
Look, Donald Trump has more baggage than you do, motherfucker. Do you think you're?
Oh,
Look. It's a
maybe.
yeah. You ever grab anybody by the pussy who didn't want it?
Oh, let's see. I have to put the caveat on.
Although neither did he though. You know that's the media getting inside my head. Donald Trump never grabbed any pussy that didn't want it either.
That's
as I know.
the thing. He was saying
Even said they let you, which implies
Or-
consent.
they let you or you can get away with it. I forget. What's
No, he
the
said
act-
they let you.
Did
I
he?
guarantee
Okay,
each
then.
of us has grabbed a pussy, knowing before we grabbed it that they wanted it grabbed, and after it was grabbed, they were happy it was grabbed. And I feel like that is perhaps what he was describing.
That's kind of just not like yeah. That's kind of what I think he was describing, but he was doing it in a braggadocious, I'm really badass way, like just kind
Sure.
of.
Well, I mean, it was just a private
his
conversation
own
with him and
tires.
Billy fucking Bush. Like, God
Bush.
knows what I'd say to Billy Bush. Like, I might spin a fucking yarn too.
Billy Bush, that guy got hosed in all of this.
That guy lost millions. He had like a show deal. He was gonna get some show, and he lost his fucking job. And Donald became the president of the goddamn planet.
Country, yeah. Oh, that's so funny. That the one person that hurt badly was
Billy Bush. And you know Clinton. I
What he
mean,
said
she
was-
looks like Darth Maul, like fucking took
Just
part of her
kiss.
life.
I don't even
away.
wait. When you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab him by the pussy. You can do anything.
When you're a star, they let you do it. Meaning that he's not going around saying they
He
let
didn't
you do
say
it.
when you're a star, sometimes you gotta fight them a little bit to make them take it. He was like, they just allow it. It's nuts.
They let you do it. You
Like-
can do anything. Grab him by the pussy. You can do anything. That's the quote. It doesn't really sound like consent, though.
It does,
But it
in
doesn't
the
sound
way
like
that
rape
it's-
either. He didn't
it's not-
say.
Yeah,
he didn't
yeah.
say.
I wouldn't call
he-
it rape.
That's not a Cosby fucking situation where it's whoopity woo, have a drink of this. Like none of that happened, you know. He's look. I think he's a bad guy, perhaps an immoral. Not bad. I think he's an immoral guy. All right,
For
his
sure.
morals are much lower than what we would all consider, where they should be.
The line before grab him by the pussy is, I did try and fuck her, and she was married. Right? Immoral.
Yes,
Yeah, that-
immoral.
I don't
immoral.
like that.
And look, I'll be honest. Like, I'm okay with immorality. I don't like illegality. Like that. That's the line that we draw, you know, in our society. Like, be as immoral as you want. That's your freedom. That's your right. You will be judged for it, but don't break any laws, or you really be judged for it. Like, he can fuck somebody else's wife if he wants to. Maybe the other guy wanted his wife fucked. There's just not enough information here. You know what I mean?
Usually
Like,
not. Yeah, typically that's not a positive.
there's
thing.
a whole porn category for those guys.
I know, but if you're like playing the percentages, you know, placing your bet, do you think random guy wants his wife fucked or not?
By Donald Trump.
Right.
Maybe he's pulling some indecent proposal numbers. You know, maybe he's
Probably
doing
not.
that.
Probably not. I don't think that's a thing. Like, I think the odds are Trump's just a man whore who hits everything he can.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you? He's worth an undeterminable amount of money.
But lots. Yeah.
But who cares how much money he's got? Because he's the president of the fucking United States. He's just got unlimited power virtually, especially with the Republicans and every.
Do you want power or money?
Power, always power.
Yeah,
but
really?
power,
Get money with power.
When you got power, you take the money. The money is immaterial. You can turn someone else's money into ash. You can tell them their money's no good anymore. That my money is what's good. You want some? Well, the exchange rate fucking sucks. Power is what you want. Once you've got power, you control.
But the thing about power is that's a job. Right, you have power, you have responsibility. Even
what kind
converting
of power are we talking about?
even
Because I'm
converting
talking about
power,
global dictator power.
I'm a president or whatever, like, or Secretary of State. Like, when Hillary converted her power into money, because she's a scumbag. But when she did that, at least there was work involved. She had to put on some pretense of foundation and aid, and it's not easy to not build hotels.
Okay, well, I
in Haiti or
misunderstood the
whatever the fuck
question.
she was doing.
I wouldn't trade
if you
Hillary
have
Clinton
money-
level power for money.
if you
Hillary
have-
Clinton's not powerful enough to trade for a large amount of money. I need
She
to be
is.
more powerful than not to me. I need for the person who I'm becoming to be more powerful than any person that there is. Like for it not to not be worth it. Because the president's only president for 4 years, 8 if you're lucky. Money lasts forever. I need to be Galactic Emperor, motherfucker. I need to be Kyle of Earth.
So
You
these
know,
numbers,
everyone needs.
Kyle of Earth.
These numbers
Yeah.
are from my foggy memory, notoriously bullshit. But the Clintons left the White House with less than $0, right? They were broke. They had legal debts. They were in debt, right? And then they somehow turned Bill's ex-presidency, Hillary's senatorship, and Secretary of State into about $110 or $125 million, right?
Bill Gates donated 20 times that much to charity.
To me, $120 million is enough to fuck off for the rest of your life.
To
right?
fuck off, but not to fuck on.
Yeah.
So
That's
They
what
made
you
a
want to do. You want to
huge amount.
influence things. You want to change stuff. You want to make little games of the world because you're going to be bored as fuck when you got that much money.
They
And
made a
the new
crazy
toys
amount
are
of money.
people. You're going to start manipulating people, and people won't be enough. You'll have to start manipulating communities, and that won't be enough. And then it'll be countries. You'll want to see if you can make country A a little more mad at country B and break them up a little bit. You want to do stuff.
I don't
If you
think
become a
so.
trillionaire.
I think I
Well,
just
that's just
changed
you.
my
That's what I
14
wanna do.
acres to 100 times that, right? Make it 1,400 acres, and then do whatever the fuck I want.
But that's what I would do that too. But they're not
Paltry
like
stuff.
if you're that far into politics, you're kind of a power hungry person already. Like they made so much money in Haiti when Trump won. There's like pictures of Haitians being like, yeah, not even like go Trump, just like fuck the Clintons, because the Haitians were told during that catastrophe, like, hey, lots of money coming to help. And they're like, is it coming anytime soon? Because we're buried under rubble and dying. Oh, it is on the way. On the way. I promise the boat left. And then no, nothing happened. Those people are not happy with the Clinton family.
I've heard that, yeah. But, yeah, so you would take the money too, Taylor, it sounded like you said.
I'd take the money and just enjoy the rest of my life.
Yeah.
How much? And look, the amount of money that I'm referring to is, $100 billion or something of that nature.
That's a
I'm
lot.
not talking about 50 million, 100 billion, so that you can do some shit. With 100 billion, you can really do. You can fund a space program. You know what I mean? Like you can make your own space program. You can colonize the fucking sea floor or something. You can be the next. You can make your name a name like Edison or Einstein that'll go down in history. You can become a Galileo. You can become a Leonardo da Vinci. You can be the guy if you've got that kind of money.
No, that's a total waste of time. What I would do is I would purchase every NHL team, and I would trade all my favorite players to the Blues.
And they'd still lose.
There would be a lot.
And if they still lost, I would globally dissolve hockey. It is no longer a sport. I'm sorry.
All-star
we're not
teams
doing that
can't
anymore.
be championship teams. We know this. They still lose.
That's what it would be. I'd bring in the Carolina Hurricanes would have to.
No man shall glide upon its solid surface.
If we can't win, then no one can play.
Like you're like lopping people's feet off for ice skating. Like that's the punishment.
Everybody would hate me. I'd be the worst commissioner ever. They'd be like, God damn it, being an LA Kings fan's no fun anymore since he imposed that all of our players have to be Mexican. We have no chance. Like none of these people play hockey.
Now, I'd like to advance some sort of crazy science experiments that require global cooperation or something. Like maybe we could make one of those giant focusing mirrors, but make it as big as the outback of Australia and use it as some kind. I don't know what we'll do with it. I don't know. But maybe if the aliens come, we'll point it at them. That'd fuck them right up,
Put
right?
people in the middle and burn them like ants with a magnifying glass.
You don't need one that big. Like if you had one of those domes the size of Australia, I think you might destroy the moon. Like that would be really fucking powerful.
That'd be a fun thing to do with $100 billion. Try and destroy the moon.
Ooh, that would destroy the world too, because the tides would stop. It would stop oxygenating the oceans. All the sea life would die. The dead sea life creates carbon dioxide, and much more importantly, methane gas. Methane gas is like 20 or 30 times more ozone blocking than CO2 is. We go into a fucking winter. We all die. Then it's just raining acid. You need the moon.
I'd destroy maybe half the moon, not the whole thing.
You know where the moon came from?
Yeah, it was. They suspect that something collided into the Earth, into the U.S., into the Earth when it was a molten
things, right?
rock, and then the molten rock in the mantle kind of went out and then congealed on its own, and then
this
became
computer simulation that shows it. And just imagine my fit. This is the fit. Like this fist is the Earth, and this other object hit the Earth. And when they did, the Earth and that object sort of liquefied and did sort of this dance where they spun until two separate molten parts, bloop, sort of separated apart, and one was the moon, and it began to rotate the Earth. That's why they share so many commonalities in their makeup.
Did you read about that recently?
No.
I saw that a long time ago. I know exactly the GIF you're talking about.
It got a lot of attention on Reddit recently that there's a new theory on how the moon got there. And the core difference, if I remember this, I barely cared. The core difference was that it was like multiple hits. Like the Earth had gotten broken off several times.
The way they showed it, in the simulation, was that they didn't just immediately make the moon and the Earth. That there was all kinds of little there was lots of rocks that were colliding with both the Earth. They had to coalesce. And for them both to coalesce took a long time, and there were who knows how many impacts, but many, many impacts, because there was bits of shit everywhere from that huge collision.
Here it is. The moon formed from 20 little moonlets, new theory suggests. It's not really my area of expertise, but that's what they're saying.
Yeah. Me and Neil deGrasse tight. He shared this with me last night.
So your theory is from the 70s. Which doesn't make it wrong. It just means it's the original one. There's a problem with that scenario. Chemical analysis of moon rock brought back shows it's nearly identical to that of the Earth. Anyway, they say now that there were 20 little moonlets that created it, and they synced up.
That doesn't matter. It's kind of a stupid little add-on, but I remember the other day they found a little chunk of the moon in Antarctica, and they were basically explaining how the universe can sort of seed itself from meteorite impacts. So, a meteorite hit the moon and blew off a chunk of moon that made it to the Earth and landed in Antarctica. And then I got into the Joe Rogan experience, and he starts explaining how mushrooms are somewhere between an animal and a plant, and their spores can live in space, and it's highly possible that they traveled here from another planet because something about their genome of a of a mushroom has this thing that nothing else on the planet has, some like fourth little piece. I didn't follow, but it was bizarre. And then he starts talking about going into the sensory deprivation tank, and going back to a time when he was in a jungle with other native peoples, and he was thinking in their native language, and it lasted for like a minute, and then he was back.
Whenever Joe goes off the wall like that, I
Yeah.
don't know enough to say he's wrong. You know?
Me either.
Yeah, like
and I want to believe. And I think this is something that all agnostics / atheists / smart people, whatever you want to call us, think is that like, and this is a little bit of what Joe had said earlier, is like, there is no God. So maybe if there's something else out there, that could be our God. Maybe there's something inside of us, or there's some energy, or maybe there's aliens, and that can be the daddy, as he referred to it, the one who comes and looks and says, look, this war, this pestilence, this greed, this is the wrong way. Here, everything is now plentiful. You know, now pursue this, pursue that, become great. You know, that sort of mindset. But what they do in those sensory deprivation tanks, I'm sure you know, is you're in a pod lying down in a very salty solution of water that's buoyant enough, or you're buoyant enough in that concentrated salt water that you float very easily. There is zero noise. They're filtering the air. So, like, I guess if you fart, it's fucking filtered right out. They're filtering the air, and they lock you in there. And you can get out. You're not locked. That's bad phrasing. But they put you in there in the darkness with no sound, no sight. And because you're floating in salt water, you can't feel anything either. And they're usually under the influence of a psychotropic, whether that's edible marijuana or that's acid. And they go on these.
Common? Because that's the aspect of it that I didn't know anything about.
What do you mean? That they do
I've
that.
never heard that from anyone but
the
you.
combination of
so
the two
is it that
that
no one else mentions it? Like,
okay, so I don't know. So most of my knowledge about these sensory deprivation tanks revolves around the use of LSD and the experiments that were done with that by the CIA back in the 60s or 70s. That's what Stranger Things is partially based on. Do you remember Stranger Things when they're putting Eleven, the little girl, in that tank, that water tank?
Mm-hmm.
That's what that is. You know, they're sending her into a sensory deprivation tank so that she can go to like the upside down world or whatever. They did that for real. I don't think anybody went to an upside down world or anything. But using LSD and turning off all their senses, they were able to open parts of their brain that normally wouldn't open, or at least that was the idea. I don't know what people do. I didn't even know there were places that you could go that had that service to get into a tank until I heard Joe Rogan talk about it. But yeah, I think a common thing is to like get stoned maybe on weed or do an edible or maybe do acid, which, you know, acid's illegal. Acid and LSD are the same thing, by the way. And go on a trip. And I would be fascinated by that because I would first like to go in the tank 100% sober, but if there was some like doctor prescribed spirit journey I could go on, man, that's appealing. I'm used to living here on this regular 3-dimensional Earth. If there's a tiny chance that there's something other than this stupid fucking 3D Earth that we're stuck in for the next 70 or 80 years, then I'd really like to check that out.
I do
Yeah,
a
it'd be
quick
pretty
Google
cool.
search. It looks like most people don't use drugs, but that's like 3 pages I saw. I don't know what the scoop is or not, but they basically described it as a hallucinogenic trip without the hallucinogens. I saw a couple places call it that.
So just a trip.
I guess. Yeah, but whatever. That's Kyle could still be right. I don't know about this.
I think it's a combination of both. But what the CIA did it was use LSD. Can we call a show there on LSD sensory deprivation tank?
LSD scares me. I've never used LSD. I know that there's a possibility of a bad trip and that you want to have like a tour guide. And I just feel like if you would have put me in a sensory deprivation tank and LSD,
that's not what you would start with. I think it's baby steps. stuff like that. And I think if you were going to start with psychotropics, you'd start with mushrooms.
Oh, okay. Well,
Or
there it
edible.
is. There's your painkiller nearly advice for the day.
There you go. That's very good drug advice. Just try them all, see what you find.